Yes, good afternoon, officers. Time for today's current affairs videos. 8th November 2025. So before we start, we are going to launch a new batch on December 8th exclusively for Crash Course Prelims 2026. You already know 3,500 selections have been done already from SRIRAM's IAS under the able guidance of the great SRIRAM sir. So we are going to launch a new batch on December 8, 2025. And what are the products we are going to offer here? That is the most important point. 100 days of coaching, special focus on previous year questions. 50 prelims tests will be provided, recorded classes if you are absent sometimes. Complete CSAT and GS coverage also will be done. One-to-one personal mentorship, that is a highlight point. Prelims revision booklets will be provided. 18 months of current affairs classes. Prelims sacks from UPSC toppers. The course fees online is only 9,999. Offline course is only 14,999. Now, these are all the toppers. If you want to be next, please join us on December 8th for the prelims crash course batch. Apart from that, you can use SRIRAM code for getting the highest discount. If you have any queries, you can call 812-1191985 or you can mail at sriramsias.com. So, what are the beautiful topics for today? Let's have a quick glance. Economics and Mamdani model, very important. He is the first South Asian who has been elected as a mayor in New York. Therefore, the Big Apple style. So that is the first important topic, what we have to learn from that. Next, Supreme Court pushes for reform on colonial era property laws, very interesting topic. Second major topic for today. Justify not using VVPATs in local body polls, High Court to Maharashtra SECs. That is the third major topic. Remove stray dogs from public places, orders Supreme Court, very important because stray dog issues, especially with children, has become very, very nasty. China launches new aircraft Fujian to seek project's power. That is a major topic for today. So if you understand this, so fifth topic for today is China is trying to project power using Fujian. So first one, economics and Mamdani model, Big Apple style. You have to understand the context of it and some notes has been clearly mentioned. So first understand the context. That is very important. So if you understand the context of this particular beautiful article, basically Zohan Mamdani, the new New York mayor, NYC mayor, first Southeast Asian to become the mayor position. So that is the best part of it. So we have to understand this from a different dimension. So what is the proposal? What did he propose in this? Why this is very important? First, concept of free buses, just like Telangana and Andhra. Not for just women, but for everyone. Then, rent freeze. That is the second major thing he is trying to build. And the concept of universal child care. So these are the three major things they are looking for. So these are the three proposals that have been made. So finally his target is to bring women-centric, gender equity and accessibility. These are the three dimensions on which his model of working is there basically. But the real problem is this becomes a question of welfare versus fiscal sustainability. How long can you sustain this kind of model? That's the overall question, because India has already tried this method, Russia has already tried this method. All these guys have tried this welfare state concept. Do you think it's going to work out? So basically his model is polity wise, this is called democratic socialism. Do you think this model is going to work in a capitalist country like US or in a pure capitalist city like New York? So that is the basic point. So this is the whole crux of the article. So you have to understand this from an economic angle. So from an economic angle, how do you think it's going to work out? Economic angle, if you look at it, the problem is, if this has to be done, the price of all the products should decrease. When price decreases, automatically the demand for the product also increases. When demand increases, supply should also increase. But for supply increase, the problem is production should increase. The cost of production will increase. This will lead to supply level shortages. This is the economic angle that we have to understand this article from. So if you go aggressively with respect to welfare state, these are the pre-problem. For example, if you look at it, the concept of free buses, if you look at free buses, take this case of free buses. That means the budget has to be maintained by the government itself. So what happens here is, the advantage is accessibility. Accessibility part increases, but maintenance of the bus, technical issues, repairs, cost, who is going to bear all that? That is the biggest problem that he should be able to think of. Now, let's go to the concept of rent freeze. What will happen if rent is freezed? If rent freeze is there, tenants, very good. Once tenants' rent is freezed, what happens is, there will be no interest for the person who's building the buildings. So the builders will reduce a lot. Once builders reduce a lot, the market will lose its interest, and this might lead to the concept of black market. Black market real estate will start. Black market will rise a lot. That is a problem which we have already seen. Now, if we move to the universal child care, it's good, very good, but the whole point is, the training part of the teachers and all these things will fall. That means quality will fall, quantity will increase. That will be the situation if you are going ahead with complete universal child. So this will lead to quality down, price down, shadow prices will start, and black markets will start. This will be the effect of all the three of them together. This may be one of the things that can happen. Now, if you look at India version, because India is a welfare state, we have PDS mechanisms on which we have worked with respect to distribution of all the rationales. Then the concept of MNREGA for jobs and all these things. So everyone is given equal income, jobs and all these things. Food security के लिए basically MNREGAs. Then the concept of Pareto trap. The problem Pareto trap is, jobs are given but efficiency decreases. That means quality completely decreases. That's a major problem. That's called a Pareto trap, where services are efficient, and because of this, what happens is, accessibility to the poor reduces. That is a major problem that we'll see with this kind of model of the Indian welfare state. So who has to get things will not be able to do this. Therefore, things have to be worked in Singapore model. So you have to, the free thing is not going to work. Bus, you can work for Singapore bus contracting model. That is one solution you can think of where things will be done. Provide more tax incentives. That's another model in which you can sustain the model. That's another direction you have to think. Then the concept of direct benefit transfer to the citizens itself, or you can use the concept of UBI, that is universal basic income. Like this model can sustain, otherwise it's very difficult to sustain. So you have welfare versus market efficiency, economic dynamics, free buses, rent freeze, free childcare. Then theories, practical economics theories, different John Rawls, subsidies, Wilfredo Pareto, Carl Poyani, examples like this I've givenly mentioned. For example, efficiency is not inclusion, but tolerate this one. Re-entry mechanism, then version of, then liberalization, leads back to liberalization again. Bismarck model, welfare state, Thatcher and Reagan rollback, like this can happen. So this kind of things. So Mandemi model, subsidized outcomes, Singapore's use continuous buffers, tax incentive plus zoning reforms to expand supply, cash e-voucher model for quality checks, Brazil's Bosa family, Kenya's UNR, all these different kinds of models are there, can work. Mission-driven firms have to be started, like Arvind Eye Care, LB Prasad Eye Institute, cross subsidy, finance poor access sustainability, fiscal honesty, published welfare costs linked with so complex and easy of doing all these things is going to work out. Only when you mix this Indian model, I think the Mamdani model will work out, otherwise it's going to be a big flop show. The next important article is Supreme Court pushes for reform on colonial era property laws. You have to understand this from different angles. First, Supreme Court colonial property laws. So what is the issue? So if you observe that India's property buying and selling is traumatic basically, because property issues, if you take with respect to the judiciary, 66% are still not solved. They're still dangling in the courts because of civil litigation. So Justice P.S. Narasimha and Justice Joy Malia Bachi urged urgent legal overhaul for this. It is directed by the Law Commission of India for reviewing the old colonial law. That is a whole game that is going on right now. So Transfer of Property Act. So what are the basic things they are looking at? They want to review this one. They want to review the Registration Act also. And this. These are the two major overhauls they want to bring to change the colonial structure which have been cleared. And definitely a link to this will become the Stamp Act. So these are the three things they want to review and bring a change to end the colonial legacy of these kind of things, because they were more. So what they want to do is they want to completely modernize this using AI technology also. That is what they want to do fundamentally, and bring more techo-based systems. That is the reason. So why this issue is coming is because of causes. If you look at the causes, basically fake. Fake registrations, fake stamps are being created. That is a major reason why this issue, and because of which there is a lot of land encroachment, plus the concept of red tapeism, too much amount of bureaucracy that leads to corruption and other kinds of malpractices. Then the verification processes, it's a two-step process which is becoming very, very difficult from both the ways. That's the reason why it is not working out very well, because it is rigid by the rigid. And the real issue is land becomes a state subject. That is a major problem. The whole problem here is land is a state subject. Therefore, this is leading to center state problems, and the federal structures are reducing a lot because of this. So that is a major reason why this is thinking. So removal property to acquire, possess and dispose at will. The problem is that right to property has been removed. It is not a fundamental right under 31. It's lost. Therefore, that right has to be changed. and a lot of institutional maturity has to be brought in. So modernization is very much required. So you have to digitize the land records, the DIL, RPMPM. Digitization of land reforms monetary practice. This act should be enhanced a lot. So this process fundamentally talks about digitization of land records. So this is very, very important. That is the reason why Supreme Court has involved itself with respect to this. So thinking of basically digitization with Aadhaar link and property Aadhaar link also, so that no fake and the trial records can be easily digitized, because of which we will know the exact owner and property issues can be completely reduced. So the notes for it: Supreme Court flats traumatic property signs 66%. These are the acts which are very, very important. Then why property deals are painful: fake documents, land encroachments, red tapeism, verification delays, sub-registrar corruption, middlemen, two-witness verification, different procedures across different states. State subjects, Article 308, institution maturity is very much required. So colonial legacy to digital clarity, harmonized property laws across states, Aadhaar-based eKYC, integrate land records, revenue and registration department, and then sub-registrar discretion, ensure public welfare and blockchain-enabled smart system should be ready. And that's how we solve this problem. Next important topic: justify not by using VVPATs in local body polls. HC to Maharashtra is easy. So Nagpur bench High Court issued notice to Maharashtra State Election Commission. Local body elections without VVPATs, that means voter verifiable paper audit trail or paper ballots. Without that, it cannot be done. The petition is filed by Congress leader Prafulla Gudade. SEC's oral order, it's illegal and beyond authority. So the High Court sought SEC's formal response within a week. That is the essence of it. This High Court, Bombay High Court, has asked for it. Right to vote is equal to right to verification. So demanded VVPATs with every EVM and return the ballot papers. Right to vote is not just a cast, but to confirm it's correctly recorded. Right to vote is a part of free and fair elections. Voters' accuracy. The VVPAT, EVM, without all these things, it becomes unverifiable. So that is a big question over here. The case study is very important. Subramanian Swamy versus the Election Commission of India, 2013. This case is very, very important. So VVPAT becomes an indispensable requirement for free and fair elections, is what the whole essence of the article is. So elections and accountability and reform, if you look at it, the failure to hold local body polls for over 4 years against constitutional obligation, because Article 234K and 324, which is independent of Election Commission, it ensures free, fair and verifiable elections at every level. It promotes public confidence, especially in the EVM-based voting, and technological integrity increases and uniform electoral standards across all over India can be maintained. That is the whole game we are looking for. So that is very important. So end of the video, you have mains and prelims questions. Please try to answer them. Next question: remove stray dogs from public places, orders Supreme Court. Director states and union territories to remove stray dogs, especially from these areas. First, educational institutions. Next, hospitals, remove them. Wherever public is there, avoid the stray dogs. So bus stands, depots, as well as railway stations, sports complexes. Alarming rise in dog bite incidents nationwide. That is the reason. So it is a strict order. So to remove the stray dogs from the vicinities of public spheres, because a lot of dogs have hit people, children especially. Therefore, this becomes a very, very important thing. Now, at the same time, the animal protection also has to be done. So, animal birth control should be done under ABC Rules 2023. All the dogs must be sterilized and vaccinated before relocation. Then the Justice Vikram Nath, Sandeep Mehta and N.V. Anjaria, all of them have been a part of the panel. Re-releasing dogs defeats the purpose of securing institutional spaces. So, therefore, that is a problem. And this is suo motu action. That means they have taken action by themselves without any PILs. Suo motu proceedings have been done to build a nation framework for stray dog management. For this, the municipal and local authorities made responsible within 8 weeks boundary. Fencing must be done, boundary walls must be given, and gates at all institutions should be provided. Regular inspection every 3 months have to be done. These are the orders that the Supreme Court has given to maintain the population of stray dogs and control them from all the dog bites which have occurred. Extending the stray dog animals on highways. Rising road accidents due to stray dogs and cattle, that is another major reason. Therefore, NHI was given municipal bodies to clear stray animals away from the highways. Further, transport authorities and safe removal methods should be adopted. Strengthens enforcement of animal birth control rules with humane relocation. Animal rights are maintained with citizen safety and urban order also is maintained. Institutional accountability is maintained on state as well as local bodies. Next hearing will be scheduled on January 13, 2026. That is the essence of it. So end of the video, you have mains and as well as prelims questions. Please try to answer them. Next, China launches new aircraft carrier Fujian as it seeks to project power. First one, Beijing's push for maritime dominance. China commissioned third aircraft carrier. So scope of prelims question, Fujian at the Hainan Naval Base in the presence of President Xi Jinping. It's the first carrier designed and built entirely by China in military modernization, just like India is doing. World-class military by 2035 and full modernization by 2049 because centenary goal. Issue about South China Sea, East China Sea, Yellow Sea, first island chain, Japan, Taiwan as well as Philippines arc. So this becomes the major geostrategy point with respect to China and showing its dominance to the world. So second island chain, regional build in Guam where US bases are located. So to counter that, this is very important. Because of which US access can be restricted a little bit, asset control and secure sea lines of communication, that is slots. So all these points are very important to understand from a defense angle. Why this modernization is very important and why China can actually, it's working on BR as well as CPSE, so therefore the naval bases also have to be controlled. Therefore it is doing this and it is showing the world that US is not in control but China is in control. Now, if you look at the lining part of it, Soviet made purchase from Ukraine origin, ski jump, training carrier. If you look at Shandong, it is built in China, Soviet design, ski jump, second generation model. And if you look at Fujian, it is indigenously designed, EMALS, that means electromagnetic launch system, first of its kind in China. So this has a huge scope of a prelims question coming in. Fujian is works on what kind of design? The answer is EMALS, that is electromagnetic launch system. So that is the point. Military balance in Indo-Pacific region. China now 3 carriers, all conventionally powered. US has 11 nuclear power carriers, long range and endurance is there. Growing power projection Indo-Pacific as well as Western Pacific is what China is trying to show. Supports plans, that is Blue Water Army, People's Liberation Army, shift from coastal defense to Blue Water Navy. That is a major point that you have to remember for prelims as well as for mains. Raises concerns in Quad nations, India, Japan, US, Australia, no maritime stability because if China dominates, these guys will have a big hit. For India, strengthens the case for INS Vikrant class expansion and maritime domain awareness in the Indian Ocean. The symbol of China's maritime rise, technological self-reliance in defense production clearly shows it's a fear for the world. That is also another direction. It's not good for India. So, mains and prelims questions along with the key will be provided. Let's have a quick glance. The first question is about thermostat, Pareto's thermostat. Next, following acts recently mentioned by the Supreme Court to align with modern technology. Subramanian Swamy case with respect to this one. Sterilization of dogs question. China's new aircraft Fujian, that's a prelims question. This is the key. Let's look at the mains questions once. First, proposed Mamdani model, relevant with examples. He's asking you to discuss it, this model. Property law reforms, critically analyzed with respect to the colonial property laws and historical continuity. What is the effect of it? The right to vote also includes right to know. So discuss it with VVPATs and body elections. Discuss significance of the Supreme Court's direction with welfare as well as implementing directives. How does China Fujian? He wants to do maritime power projection, examining its implications for India's naval strategy as well as regional balance and career enhancement. So these are all the questions for today. And please answer them and send it to us. We'll correct and give it to you back. So that's all for today. Shravan Padikula signing off. Bye-bye.